If you remember taking on the Coruscant underworld, sneaking around as a protocol droid, and riding around Mustafar, then you grew up playing Star Wars Lethal Alliance, but which one? Because there were two completely different versions released, one on PSP and one on DS, and in this video we're going to compare both of them. Let's begin with the PSP version. The game is set 6 months before A New Hope and follows the adventures of Twi'lek mercenary Rihanna Saren, and we begin on Coruscant. Wow, what a beautiful city. What is this supposed to be exactly? Is it like one of those airport smokers boxes? Excuse me, two sets of identical twin ladies, could you point me to Dexter's Diner? Wait, what is the objective? Find Kyle Katarn. Oh, okay. Excuse me, protocol droid, have you seen Kyle Katarn? Hello? Now, come on, there's gotta be a dialogue button or something. Whoops, never mind. You didn't see that, astromech. See, I tried to take him out as well, but he's just too short. You know, Rihanna, if you're gonna be a mercenary, you're gonna have to learn to aim down. What's this? A statue of a stormtrooper? Take that, evil Marvel bust. Oh no, they're onto me. Ah, there he is. Hi Kyle, thanks for making this crossover, but you don't actually look how you're supposed to in this time period. Anyway, Rihanna then agrees to steal an Imperial shipment from the Black Sun criminal organization. Now, Lethal Alliance for the PSP is pretty much your standard third-person shooter, but this time with extra acrobatics because this is a Ubisoft game. Fun fact, this was the very first Ubisoft Star Wars game, and just look at how far we've come. Anyway, back to all the acrobatics. We've got Rihanna jumping over lasers and doing twirls while shooting, and it's amazing how she can keep such good aim and keep her Leiku from getting tangled. Also, fun fact, one of her head tails is actually a metal prosthetic due to story reasons we'll find out a little later on in the game. What's that dialogue box say? Mines may explode if you get too... You can also do stealth takedowns and engage in close quarters combat with this Halo energy sword. Now you can tell this version was built from the ground up for the PlayStation Portable. The lock-on system is pretty decent. You can also move the camera with the shoulder buttons, but most of the time the camera does a decent enough job of staying behind Rihanna. I just wish these Black Sun henchmen didn't all make the same grunt when you take them out. Eventually, Rihanna finds the little droid Zio, who ends up being her companion throughout this game. Zio can be used to go through tight passageways as a ledge, to do jumping gymnastics up walls, and to slice terminals. Unfortunately, he will often come under fire while he's doing it. The two characters also have cute little interactions.
Thanks, Zio.
Now, we'll talk more about Zio in a second, but first, a quick thanks to this video's sponsor, War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, free on PC, console, and mobile. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations. Each vehicle is modeled down to its components, and when it's destroyed, X-ray view shows exactly how the shot took it out. There's a mode for every type of player, from fast-paced arcade battles to ultra-realistic simulator combat. Customize your vehicle with unique designs, and with the new mobile version, take the battle anywhere. Right now, new players and returning players who haven't played for at least 6 months can claim a massive bonus pack when they sign up through my link. This includes multiple premium vehicles, 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days of premium accounts, and the exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor. But hurry, because it's available for a limited time only, and only applies to PC and console. Join over 95 million players worldwide and experience the breathtaking realism of War Thunder. Use my link below to play free today and claim your bonus pack while it lasts. Alright, back to the game. As Rihanna makes her way through the seedy underworld of Coruscant, she unlocks new abilities like the Matrix Bullet Time. Plus, you can also use Zio to grind up pipes and then perform takedowns. And he can also slice and blow up crates to reveal all sorts of goodies and power-ups. Now, there are quite a few terminals you're going to have to slice in this game, and sometimes there are protocol droids in the way. And the only way to get rid of them is to blow them up. I mean, come on, we could have just asked them to move aside, no? Oh well. You can also get Zio to attack the bad guys, and look, he just flies at them like some kind of a deranged hamster ball. Now, after a few levels of going through the Black Sun warehouse, Rihanna makes her daring escape by riding Zio through the Coruscant streets in an homage to the Obi-Wan Zem Wessel sequence from Attack of the Clones. This is a pretty fun on-rails level, which can end up up with poor Rihanna being burnt, electrocuted, and bludgeoned if you don't get your timing right. This is followed by a cutscene where Leia sends Rihanna to Alderaan to destroy another Imperial shipment. Oh, poor Kyle looks like he came straight out of the Money for Nothing music video. At Alderaan, Rihanna gets her new heavy blaster. Oh, that's cool, let's see how it works. Ah, crap. You make your way through the ship, taking on more bad guys, slicing more terminals, and trying to out-gymnast these shield generator floors. You can also man these laser turrets. Unfortunately, they overheat really quickly. And I know this is a PSP game, but I was kind of disappointed you didn't get to see more of the planet itself. Most of these levels are actually set inside the ship. I mean, you'll get to see some grass every now and then, and I think those are the mountains, but that's about it. Now, at a certain point, Zio will also unlock this deflector shield add-on, which you can use to protect Rihanna. The Alderaan section of levels ends with Rihanna encountering this charming fella.
Defy Black Sun and die!
And then we get introduced to his boss, the evil Zabrak Keth, who once enslaved and tortured Rihanna, which is how she came to be missing one of her Leiku. After defeating the floating droids, Rihanna gets in touch with Leia.
The Empire has been shipping some kind of organic drug to Mustafar.
Don't you mean death sticks or something?
They must be using the drugs to increase production.
Oh wow, they're not sugarcoating this at all. Alright, so Rihanna follows the Imperial drug shipment to Mustafar. Ah, Jesus Christ, couldn't we find a different way to get around this planet? And so, after being burned to a crisp, Rihanna arrives at the seedy Imperial Markanite mining facility, but now she has a sniper rifle. Now, this game has two types of game over sequences, one where Rihanna just runs out of health and dies, and then another one where she actually gets captured by the stormtroopers who flat out creep on her.
She'll look good in chains.
Anyway, another feature of this game is that both Rihanna and Zio have separate health bars, but if they do enough combos they actually get to fill up their alliance meter, which boosts their attacks. The Mustafar level is pretty standard, more shooting enemies, slicing terminals, and doing acrobatics. There are quite a few levels in this game, but at least they are quite short. After all, this is a handheld game. Ah crap, it's okay, it's just a little lava, it's not that hot, right? So Rihanna makes her way through the mining facility where she sabotages the drill before taking off into orbit, where we get this cool TIE Fighter gunner minigame. Rihanna then pursues the evil Zabrak Keith to Tatooine. Look at this, just another day on Tatooine for this vendor lady as she watches a random Twi'lek doing acrobatics while shooting down stormtroopers. And of course it wouldn't be a Tatooine section without a cameo from Boba Fett. We also get this amazing stealth section where Rihanna disguises herself as a protocol droid, only she still moves the same. Hello fellow Tatooine citizens, anybody in need of any protocol droid work? Like, does anyone care that this droid has a blaster sticking out of its leg? Or that it's going around stealth killing stormtroopers? You then blast your way through the junkyard, followed by another sneaking section at the Imperial prison facility where Rihanna disguises herself as an officer, and I do like how they also disguise Z as a torture ball droid. Here we find the Wookiee prisoners. Are you the new dancing girl? Oh look, this one's got bands. The Tatooine sequence of levels ends with Rihanna inside an arena. Okay, I'm sure this is going to be a battle against a nice, sensibly sized boss. I guess not. Luckily for the Twi'lek mercenary, this Rancor has a pretty nasty rash on his back which we can aggravate. Who'd have thought that even Rancors can get STDs? Unfortunately, Rihanna then gets ambushed and captured by Darth Maul from Temu, which results in a sequence of levels on the planet Despire. What a wholesome, friendly name for a planet. We start by escaping the Imperial facility, followed by a fly level through the forest. Are these bike troopers just blowing up on their own? Because I'm definitely not doing anything. This is followed by a jungle level, which looks like it's straight out of an early Spyro game, and then a few levels at the Death Star construction site. Anyway, at this point, the enemies get a slight upgrade to elite stormtroopers, and these guys get a slightly different redesign along with different colored markings. This sequence of levels ends with you getting into a turret and taking out a bunch of walkers. And I like how their legs do a little wobble before they collapse. Look, they've even got the mini walkers from episode 3. Next up is a bunch of levels on the Death Star itself, and to be honest, I found these a bit disappointing. Yes, the novelty of being on the Death Star is cool, but the gameplay is identical to all the other levels with only slight variants like this bit where you've got to avoid the lasers. I guess things just get a bit repetitive this late in the game. Also, the final level of this section is very similar to the Alderaan one where you have to take out the TIE Fighters. And speaking of which, the final levels of this game take place on the planet Danuta, where Rihanna has to take out Keith, who's in possession of the Death Star plans. And this bit is notorious for contradicting the first Dark Forces game, which actually starred Kyle Katarn and started with him stealing the Death Star plans. Ironically enough, this game would also be contradicted by Jin and Cassian stealing them in Rogue One. So maybe a decade from now, they'll do another version of someone else stealing the Death Star plans. And speaking of recurring Star Wars tropes, a big chunk of the Danuta level takes place inside a TIE Fighter assembly center. You know, just like the first level of The Force Unleashed. What makes it even more interesting is that The Force Unleashed came out only 2 years after Lethal Alliance. Anyway, we get another flying level, and then the final boss showdown with Keith, who's not exactly playing fair, is he, as he gets into this giant mech suit. Luckily, at this point, you do come into possession of a handy grenade launcher. The goal here is to get Zio to slice the mech from the back, but this is made extra difficult because the camera decides to go insane at this point. Eventually, you defeat Keith, get the Death Star plans, and that's it for the PSP version. But of course, there was also a Nintendo DS version, so let's take a look at that one. The DS game is built from the ground up for Nintendo's handheld, but it still follows the same third-person action game structure. Just look at that glorious JPEG skyline. But you know what, at least Rihanna's character model is pretty detailed. Just like on the PSP, you move the camera with the shoulder buttons and there is a lock-on mechanism, but it's quite a bit clunkier this time around. Rihanna can still sneak up to enemies and use melee attacks, and she still does a bunch of rolls and acrobatics. The movement mechanics still feel pretty decent despite using the D-pad, but if you're not careful, Rihanna can fall off the platforms and land on an invisible floor. The overall gameplay loop is very similar to the PSP version. There are lasers you've got to get around, mines on the floor, and plenty of exploding barrels filled with goodies. And I know I made fun of the graphics at the start, but I actually think some of the environmental elements are actually better in this version than on the PSP. For example, look at Coruscant, you actually get to see the Senate building, and there are a lot more open sections. Now, Zio still makes up a pretty big chunk of the gameplay. You still get plenty of sections where you control him in first-person view. However, this time, the Zio sections introduce a bunch of different touchscreen minigames and puzzles like this cube moving puzzle and the Simon Says on steroids. Zio can also plant explosives to blow up doors, help attack enemies, and give you hints on the bottom screen. Every now and then you've also got to decrypt these terminals, which require you aligning two directional lines until they turn white. Just like on the PSP, you can also use Zio to grind up walls, and as a shield, only this time around he does it automatically. The flying sections have been replaced with these high-speed wall scaling sections where you have to try to avoid the obstacles and shoot down the mines. This being a DS game, the cutscenes are made up of stills with dialogue on the touchscreen, but the artwork is really nice. Rihanna and Zio still have their alliance bar, and once you reach maximum alliance, it gives you a big attack boost. As for the story and setting, they're really similar to the PSP game. You start on Coruscant and then move on to Alderaan. This time the planet is covered in this orange sunset. We then move on to Mustafar and then Tatooine. There are no droid disguises or sneaking sections at all actually, but you do still get the Rancor battle. We then get a level on Despire. Now the Death Star section actually has the scaffolding bit which takes place outside. That's right, Rihanna's just running around in space. You know what, maybe the Death Star wasn't that much of a threat. Look, it's kind of small. There is no dedicated Danuta section, instead we just go from the Death Star straight to the mech battle boss against Keith. The mechanics here are slightly different, but they still involve you having to send Zio to deactivate the mech. And so there we have it, Star Wars Lethal Alliance. I feel like this game's been largely forgotten, probably because it never had a console release. But honestly, I think this is a pretty solid Star Wars game. I really appreciate that both versions were tailored to their respective platforms. Now personally, I prefer the PSP version, the gameplay style just clicks more with me. But don't get me wrong, the DS version is still a pretty decent game and an enjoyable Star Wars experience. But that's just my take. Please let me know your memories of Star Wars Lethal Alliance in the comments below. Which version did you prefer? What was your favorite planet? And how many protocol droids did you blow up? As always, thanks for watching. Please consider supporting me on Patreon, and a big thanks to my existing patrons. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Play free today using my link below and grab your limited time bonus pack. Valid only on PC and console. If you've enjoyed this video, then please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.